So I'm sorry we're starting a little bit late. I had a couple of things I had to take care of that just interfered. But anyway, on to our 5 resources for sparking new interests in your children that maybe you haven't thought of before. So the first one is, it's really kind of a theme. So it's thrift stores, garage sales, and antique stores. So um, thrift stores and the other two have turned up some pretty interesting finds for us. Uh, we have found weaving looms, we found some old games, we found interesting craft supplies, and the occasional old lamp or basket or some kind of thing like that that sparks a discussion about, well, how did they do that? How do where did that come from? What is this thing? And that can spur conversation and spur a new interest, especially in antique stores. And of course, garage sales are one person's junk is another person's treasure. So, and you get to talk to the people who owned it and what they did with it. The second thing are festivals and fairs. Now, depending where you live, there may be more or less of these, but there are lots of these kinds of things that go on in the summertime, particularly. So some of the ones where we live, and that are common to a lot of areas, are music festivals, art festivals, and cultural types of festivals, you know, things around, you know, the Norwegian festival or, you know, the Swedish festival, the Mexican festival, the African American festival, you know, different things that celebrate a particular culture. But there are also a lot of fairs. So especially if you have a college town near you or within an hour's drive, the colleges often have fairs. They have engineering fairs, history fairs, and sometimes things related to cultures. We've had one high school that their Japanese club has a Japanese fair every year, and that's sparked some interest for my kids also. And one of the local universities does offer an engineering fair every year. And that's fun because you get to talk to the professors who teach it, and they have interesting demonstrations of the engineering, different types of engineering and principles. So sometimes you go to one of those and that sparks an interest. And I do know a family that their daughter was very interested in art, and she went to one of these kinds of fairs and discovered architecture, and that's what she ended up going to college for, and is now an architect. So you just never know. The third thing are magazines. And I don't mean just go to any bookstore and just like pick up, you know, Good Housekeeping or, you know, or Well-Being Journal or something like that. But they're getting a sample issue of a few different hobby-related magazines, magazines like Make, Popular Mechanics, Mother Earth News, Popular Woodworking, Crochet World, some of those kinds of things. Sometimes when a child sees projects, they get inspired to, wow, that's really cool, that's really beautiful, I want to try that. And when it comes with some instructions, that makes it even more accessible. Another resource is 4-H and also university extension. Here in Illinois, they're not the same thing, but they are related. And the university extension offers master gardening certificates. They offer some other training in agriculture and horticulture and related things. But the 4-H has their own badge system, their own state fair requirements and things like that. So just looking at the projects, not necessarily joining 4-H, but looking at the kinds of projects that are available, because we can't think of everything, but their objective is to teach kids different kinds of useful skills, often towards a homesteading type of goal. So that can spark interest. And kind of related to that, we also have the traditional badge programs, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts badges. I personally would not join the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts at this point. Unfortunately, even though I was a Girl Scout as a child, just some of the politically related changes to that's just my preference. But there are alternative programs, the American Heritage Girls and Trail Life USA, that are a Christian alternative to the Boy and Girl Scouts. Even not necessarily joining, once again, but looking at what kinds of things do they give badges for, because that can give us some ideas for what kinds of projects the kids might like. They themselves can look at that and say, oh, well, that sounds interesting. That's something different I hadn't thought of before. And some kids really like the idea of working towards a badge, having a sense of completion, a sense of mastery. And so that can be really helpful to them. And I think some of these programs allow you to be a member at large. I think I know that with the Girl Scouts, they allow you to be a Juliet, which is a Girl Scout who doesn't belong to any troop. So there are those kinds of opportunities, because not everyone has a group of young people, a troop near them, for even Trail Life or American Heritage Girls. Another alternative to the scouting programs, besides the two I just mentioned, are Keepers of the Faith and Contenders for the Faith. This is another program, Keepers at Home and Contenders for the Faith. They also have a sort of a badge system. It just is another alternative that also helps work towards character development and towards mastery of particular things that are helpful to know as a young man or a young woman. So they're all kind of around the same theme. And then the last resource I have to share is diy.org, diy.org. And this is a website specifically set up for kids. They do earn badges, but the projects are organized around a number of themes that kids are generally interested in, but help them develop useful skills for today's work environment. And just and the badge requirements are designed by professionals in those fields. So you might have a project around blacksmithing that's designed by a master blacksmith. You might have a project around building a robot using an Arduino, and that's designed by somebody who does that for a living. So they get professionals to teach kids. So, but it's not a live course. So that's something else to check out. So I hope that you have gained some new ideas for how to inspire your kids. And if you have your own resources that you would like to share that have been very helpful to you, please list those in the comments section. Have a great day.